Surely, gentlemen, we are not being taken seriously by the Rugby Football Union. We need to protect our collective interests.
And the interests of our players.
Gentlemen, I am not proposing we condone professionalism. I am proposing payment for bona fide broken time. Let's treat our players fairly. We need nationwide cup and league competitions. We need some sort of organisation. We need to make a stand, gentlemen. I think the time has come for us to form our own union. A Northern Rugby Football Union. Do I have your support?
100 years ago, a dispute over payments to rugby players for time lost at work led to the formation of a breakaway union, and the game of rugby league was born. The new game gained great momentum in the north of England, and it wasn't long before the colonies had embraced the concept. The idea of staging a World Championship dates back to 1933, but it wasn't until the 50s that a tournament was held. France won the first World Cup in 1954, and in 1957 the event was held in Australia, and 200,000 fans saw 6 matches in Sydney and Brisbane, with the home side too strong for Great Britain, France and New Zealand.
Australian forwards attack again with short, snappy passes. The last one to none other than the fullback, who's moved up for such a possibility. And Australia wins the World Cup. The excited and happy Australians cheer their captain off the field.
In the 60s and 70s, Great Britain and Australia were again the dominant sides, and both held the title of world champion. In the 80s, a 4-year home and away format was conceived. New Zealand qualified to play Australia in the final in 1988, and the Kangaroos were again too strong, beating the Kiwis at Eden Park.
Miller goes all the way!
1992 was the culmination of another 4-year home and away format. Great Britain took on the Aussies at Wembley, and another gripping struggle between the two old foes developed. Australia won, scoring the only try of the match.
Kevin Walters delivers to Reynolds. Here comes a try. Reynolds scores. 15 out from the line. Clapp. He tries to get a pass away. There's the siren. It's all over. Australia retains the World Cup.
So it is fitting that as rugby league celebrates its first 100 years, we return to Wembley Stadium for the opening game in this year's Centenary World Cup. And what better way to start than with the defending champions Australia up against the old foe England. Joining us in commentary, as always, is our own Paul Vorton. In fact, I guess the first thing we should do is point out the 10 teams participating over the next 3 weeks, divided into 3 pools. Take us through them.
Yeah, Peter, as we look at the 3 pools, the Group 1 is obviously the stronger, with Australia and England in that, New Zealand the favourites in Group 2, and a very evenly matched bunch in Group 3, Wales, France and Western Samoa. Now, how the semi-finals will work is this. The winner of Group 1 will meet the winner of Group 3, and the runner-up in Group 1 meets the winner of Group 2, which should be New Zealand. So Australia playing today to avoid a clash with New Zealand. Yeah, they do appear to be the stronger team outside of Australia and England. It was always going to be interesting as to who the coaches, Phil Larder and Bob Fulton, were going to select for the opening match, but no real surprises in either camp. The Aussies have gone for players who've played a fair bit of football during the semi-final series. And players that were informed during that semi-final series. Plenty of Sydney Bulldogs and Manly players there who played in the grand final. As you look at the team there, Brasher, Wishart, Coyne-Hill, Hopewadi makes his debut. Fittler at 23, leading a World Cup side here. Great moment for him. Jeff Tuvey, Dimmick, Pay, Menzies, Carroll, Bartram and Gillespie. Strong, looking forward pack, Peter. Yeah, and the English side, of course, no Gary Connolly or Martin Offia. Offia out injured, Gary Connolly out with pneumonia. They'll be missed, but they do have a tremendous strike rate here at Wembley, especially in the last couple of meetings. And a very good looking forward pack, this one. Very strong and tough up front with Carl Harris and Andy Platt. The fullback is a newcomer to us. He's played 25 games for the Wigan club. Apparently plays very well. Chris Radlinski, and plenty of good pace there on the wings in Bentley Robinson, and experience with Sean Edwards and Darryl Powell at the halves. What kind of game are you expecting? Very physical game. I think that's England's only chance to get right up amongst the Australian faces and put them off the game. But I think Australia, for too many informed players, look for big games like for the likes of Steve Menzies. They should win by about 10 to 12 points, I think. Well, it's a tremendous way to start this year's World Cup. As we say, both teams desperate to avoid a confrontation with New Zealand. So today, a win is imperative. And in the build-up to today's game, we saw the 22 original clubs which made up the English Northern League
honoured by the Yorkshire Imperial Medals Band and the Royal Signals Corps, and they carried their banners. And the finale of the opening ceremony was the appearance of Diana Ross.
And now the entry of the first teams competing against one another in Group 1 and in fact in the Centenary World Cup. An anxious time for many of the young Australians. 4 of them only have been to Wembley. In fact, played on the turf of Wembley. The Twin Towers of Wembley welcomes the start of the 11th World Cup. Jeff Carr and Phil Lowe, respective managers, take the green and gold. Australia, and of course the red, white and blue, predominantly red and white of England on this strip. They haven't played since 1975 as nations. Diana Ross, one of the great ladies of song. And of hope and glory. Jeff Toovey, the young number 7, pitted against a man who makes his 13th or 14th, I think it is, appearance at Wembley, Sean Edwards.
And important for those players in the Australian side that haven't been to Wembley before to make sure they don't get carried away. It really is an occasion. So when you hear Land of Hope and Glory, the shivers go up the spine. Important for the guys just to keep their minds on the job. 80 minutes of football coming up. A very important 80 minutes to set this World Cup campaign off on the right foot.
We stand by for the rendition of both national anthems. Not a big crowd, but certainly pumped up for the occasion. No doubt that they will, pardon me, start favourite. A home side. Ledlinski at fullback, Robinson, Bentley, Mather, Newlove, Powell, Edwards, Farrell, Betts, Clark, Harrison, Jackson, Platt. Strong side. Remembering that two of their stars aren't there, Connolly and Offia. Brasher, Wishart, Hopewate, debut for him, Coyne, Hill, Fittler, Tuvey, Dimmick, debut for Jim, Menzies, Pay, Gillespie, Bartram and Carroll.
9, Wayne Bartram. 10, Mark Carroll. 11, Steve Menzies.
There's the substitute. Ollie Goulding played a big part in the 1994 Kangaroo Tour for England.
And that does show how strong the English forwards are as well. Chris Joynt can't make the starting side. Of course, had quite a successful stint with the Newcastle Knights last season.
Now introducing
Brad Fittler, a young man looking to carry on the form that he showed against New Zealand in the past Test series when he was absolutely inspirational.
Captain of England, Sean Edwards, the most decorated of all rugby league players, and this is the only medal that doesn't grace the mantelpiece. Brad Fittler, firmly entrenched as the Australian captain these days, third youngest ever, if memory serves me correctly.
And you can imagine what's going through the minds of some of these players. Chris Radlinski, the young fullback with England, and he played a handful of top-grade games with the Wigan club now in his first international. I would imagine that Coach Paul Fulton would be targeting him with bombs and trying to find out a weakness in his game.
John Hopewate, taste of State of Origin this year, but even that great contest I don't think would take away the butterflies of a visit to Wembley for the first time. I think Andy Farrell is playing in jumper 12. I might have to correct that, but we'll get a look at it very shortly as Rod Wishart starts the World Cup and England bring it back through Phil Clark. Heavy tackle brings a groan from the crowd. And this is Harrison, the captain of Halifax. Jackson, and now for Betts. 25 caps for Great Britain. 30-metre line underneath them as they go to the right and work the blind, and that is Farrell. He's playing in 13. Just wanted to double check that. Wow. Andy Platt took his eyes off the ball, and he paid an embarrassing penalty, really. Through to Fittler, and on now for Dimmick. And they will be letting Dimmick know that this is very much their turf. Tuvey tries to make the break from dummy half. 35 metres out now from the England line. And we work over for Carroll. And Harrison goes high. Betts underneath. Gillespie. He knows what to expect as he gets his first touch. Centre of the ground. They go back right. And Fittler. Good day for kicking. The grass dampened. A good chase by the Australians on the right. They knew what was on from their captain.
And no surprise to see Jeff Tuvey leading the chase. Already noticeable that Brad Fittler is slotting into first receiver, pushing Tuvey and Jim Dimmick onto the fringe of the ruck. Seems to work quite well.
Robinson away from dummy half. He was near enough to the best player we saw in opposition to us last year on the Kangaroo Tour. Jackson got the title. But Robinson wasn't far in arrears. And a big kick finds the line.
Yeah, he's a good option kicker, is Andy Farrell. From the Wigan club, he's got a big strong boot on him. And he finds touch about 25 metres out from the Australian line. Could look pretty good with the football, willing to go wide early in the tackle count.
Rain coming down a little bit more strongly now. As Wishart comes in off the right wing. Dimmick away for Fittler. Inside ball, picks up Mark Coyne. And there's a penalty against England inside the 10. So the first penalty of the match goes to the Kangaroos. And down on the sidelines for us during the World Cup is Chris Bombolas. Chris, good afternoon to you.
Last-minute instructions from both coaches, obviously with the rain starting to come down, was ball control and defence. Both of them stressed that defence will win the game this afternoon, and the Australians go into this match, they're pretty confident, and it's starting to rain a little bit here. It looks like it's set in for the afternoon. At this stage, the Wembley ground is still holding firm, but maybe later on it might get a little slippery underfoot.
Pass from Tuvey to Gillespie. Had a little question mark on it as Bartram now away for the 12, and that is Dean Pay, who left Sydney, of course, with the grand final medal. Tuvey tries to put Dimmick for a gap. That was smart thinking out there by Mark Coyne. That has promoted Wishart. Wishart 15 metres away from England's line. Now Bartram for Tuvey. Across now for Fittler. It shortened the passes up. Away now from Terry Hill. John Hopewate away from the sideline. Last tackle coming. What will Fittler do with it? He passes and across for Menzies, and he's stuffed out by Betts. Ball and all tackle, it had to be made.
And it was a great tackle from Dennis Betts. Saw that Fittler decided to run the football on the last tackle, got up quickly on Menzies and crunched him. Been a good start from both sides, especially in their defence. Some big hitting, a couple of high shots. Now England looking to get out of their own danger area, 25 metres out. That's Clark leading the way.
This referee's playing about a 7 to 8 metre, 10 metres at the moment, so you'd want to be careful.
Jackson onto the boot of Edwards. Ball bouncing and spraying away almost. So the scrum will go down 10 metres away from Australia's line.
Only a couple of kicks from the English side, but they've both been pinpoint. This time Sean Edwards on the right side of the ruck. Ball tends to sit down fairly quickly at the Wembley Stadium, but that one had enough to take it over the sideline. Of course, Andy Farrell came up with a 40-metre effort on the far side, so good field position from the English team through their kicking game.
And there was no semblance of 5 metres behind the last row of forwards, the way I read it. And that has confined Australia somewhat as they endeavour to bring it out from inside their own 20-metre zone. Brasher did well. And Dean Pay likewise. Australia quite happy to move the ball about. Gillespie to the 40-metre line. It's not been a bad set. Bartram on now for Pay. A magnificent 94 tour. Comes here really as a player that many others will be looking to for inspiration. And Fittler's kick is a beauty, crossing the sideline a couple of metres out from the corner post.
The big torpedo punt there. Split the fullback and the winger. We made good contact on that one. Good follow through. End-to-end stuff here. Both teams looking to force a mistake from their opponents in their own danger area. "10 times the World Cup has been decided. Australia has won it
7 times since its inaugural year back in 1954. Great Britain, the other 3. Keeping in mind that this is only the 2nd time Great Britain has been divided for the Cup. Smashing tackle by the Australians. Carroll and Dimmick taking Barry John Mather, who played with the Western Reds this year. Now Jackson gives it away to Harrison. They're in the centre of the park. The kick is coming. They go back for the boot of Farrell. It's not the biggest kick, and Hopewate brings it back to the 40-metre line. They try to force him towards the sideline, but John submits in the tackle. Now, Terry Hill, a player who fits into that same category as Dean Fay I was talking about earlier. Mark Carroll toured with the Kangaroos in 1990. He's got his career back together in 95, very much so. Dimmick plays it, they go right. Bartram for Tuvey, and then for Menzies. Menzies. How many tries did he score this year? Was it 22?
22, yep.
Now, Fitlis calling for it, the hand in the air. He puts it on the left foot. Chasing is Brasher, and Radlinski, the 19-year-old youngster in goal, watches it over the dead ball line.
Both teams very keen to keep the football alive, and the handling so far has been tremendous. So I'll probably put the mock on, and the ball will come loose shortly, but I can't think of a player putting a ball down. And there has been plenty of ball movement from both sides.
There's Farrell now, who would remember his last visit to Wembley. He was the player that had to be taken off for Great Britain when Sean Edwards was sent off. They had to get Goulding into the play, a halfback, and they had to basically sacrifice. Here's a forward pass, but it's away for John Barry Mather. In a touch, a great tackle by Timmy Brasher.
What a tackle by Timmy Brasher. One-on-one. Barry John Mather decided to head for the corner. Didn't worry about stepping. A couple of suspect passes in this movement down the blind side, but promising movement there by England.
Well, he's dead set bomb to try. Why he wouldn't have thrown the ball back inside to Sean Edwards unmarked, I'll never know. Timmy Brasher came up with a great tackle. Mather did not even look to see who was inside. Edwards was 10 metres away from the nearest Australian defender.
So a life for Australia, but I put it to you, the final pass from Phil Clark to Mather was forward.
Great stuff by Timmy Brasher. That'd be a dream come true. A try-saving tackle in the corner. One-on-one in a World Cup match for Timmy Brasher. Well done.
Keep in mind, it's a long time, really, in rugby league terms, since Timmy Brasher has played football.
I don't know about a dream come true. I'd be dreaming of scoring tries, not scoring them, but a high tackle here pulled up.
So, no score. In the opening match of the World Cup, celebrating 100 years of rugby league.
I suppose the fitness question is something will be answered as the game goes on, but probably 4 or 5 of these players haven't played for 6 weeks now, talking to the likes of Wayne Bartram, Timmy Brasher, Rod Wishart. I know that since coming here, Bob Fulton has pulled the training into them, training twice a day.
So the tap to be taken near enough to the halfway line. And Mark Carroll keen to put a dent in the English forward line. Gillespie upended, and now Fittler goes from open to blind and works with Dimmick. And Dimmick is about 12 metres into England's half. Still no score. That doesn't come as a surprise, I think, to most rugby league followers. This was always going to be a tough assignment. The captain is put down heavily. Landed on his shoulder, he's okay. Bartram tries to get a kick in, but that's on the last tackle. It's the turnover. Back inside the 30-metre line. Phil Clark putting the pressure on. And Bartram coming up with the mistake. Clark again.
Quite impressive, the English forward plays, very simple. A lot of bodies in motion. Sean Edwards keen to get play underway. Takes play into the Australian half. There's been a lot of decoy runners. This time Andy Platt takes it forwards. Brad Fittler there to meet him. It's been a good spell from the Englishmen with the ball in their hands.
Harrison. So both front rowers used on the first 2 tackles. 13 minutes gone now. As Powell turns it in, and Newlove, widely regarded last year as the best player in England. Now Jackson. They set it up on the 4th tackle. Edwards goes back to the left of the ground. Powell turns it in. Radlinski is put away on 5. There's the 20-metre line. Now, Powell gets a kick in, knocked on by Wishart. There's the chance they were working for to present itself.
Well, look, I know he's knocked it on, but he did well under pressure because there was 2 or 3 English players coming through on him.
So just a little knock on by Rod Wishart. And now England get the chance that they worked for. That's what it's all about. They come up with the scrum win, and Powell goes directly to the fullback standing in the line. And just watching Bentley, the winger, he's fallen across from the left wing. This is Robinson working with it on the right. And Bentley came over menacingly, looking for a little piece of the action. Clark is put down, a good tackle. Wraps him up in the centre of the park by Gillespie. They've got numbers on the left. Betts hits it up, puts it out the back. Harrison can't handle. Menzies neither, but it'll be a scrum, and the first breach will apply in Australia with the loose head and feed. No score then in the opening of the World Cup. Australia now with Wishart. 12 metres out, centre of the ground. Fittler. Short ball for Brasher. Bartram. Dimmick. Pass was suspect. The crowd agreed. Bartram again. They go back open for Carroll. Short ball on for Tuvey. Menzies. Become one of those players. You tend to come out of your seat and stand when he handles the football. Dean Pay does well. He's tackled on the 40-metre line. Bartram got an ordinary play the ball from him, though. Fittler now with at least 5 of these players offside. They'll be asked to stay 10 metres away. Not now, they won't. Radlinski brings it out. Won the Harry Sunderland in the Premiership final. Youngster of 19, so he's obviously got some talent. And here's Bentley being driven back, also from Halifax.
And just another display of Brad Fittler's vast array of talents. The left foot kick that time was well placed. Chase was fairly good. As England now bring it out to the 40-metre line through Farrell. And again, I stress the handling from both sides has been sensational.
Edwards, cross for Dennis Betts. His coach of some time now, John Money, in the crowd, in fact working for BBC television during the tournament. Edwards kicks, and it couldn't have been more favourable for Brasher, but Clark is a very good player, Phil Clark, and he was down there to snuff it out. Opawate now. Paul Vorton pointed out the importance of a win here today. A loss almost certainly would see us in a semi-final against New Zealand. Now Fittler, they work the angle. Coyne gets it 7 metres into England's territory.
And Sean Edwards was again the key player in defence there. He's come up with some good clean-up work already in this game as Australia go wide. Otuvi straightens, gets a pass away to Dimmick, who finds Carroll middle of the field.
Fittler on to Bartram and then away to Pay. They're starting to open up. Here's Brasher. 8 metres out. Intercepted. Mather lost the ball. It'll be a scrum, and I believe Australia will get the feed.
That should be the case. A great movement there by Australia, keeping the ball alive. And went one way, then back to the other. Found some holes Timmy Brasher, look, he might score for a minute. Sterlo went up. Would you back him, Pete?
Oh, 12-1, why wouldn't you go up? Good work there from the Bulldog connection, wasn't it? Dimmick and Pay on the fringe of the ruck, so dangerous.
Jim Dimmick was about to celebrate a try in his debut in the green and gold colours, and of course at Wembley. The blood bin for Mark Coyne. No score in the World Cup, the opening match. Australia versus England. Reprimand there for Mark Carroll. And I'm just looking for the replacement. It is Jason Smith who's coming out. As Australia go across for Terry Hill to try and run over the top of Mather. He succeeded in doing that, and then the fullback, Radlinski, was there to make the tackle. This is Brasher. 15 metres away. Australia, can they get it over the line here? Gillespie scored that try against the New Zealanders in the Test Series this year, hoping for a repeat dose. Fittler and Tuvey. The ball has gone forward from Fittler. I can't argue with that. Not from our first view of it. Let's watch it on replay.
Yeah, Wayne Bartram didn't realise that Brad Fittler was coming back across the ruck. By the time he picked the football up, Fittler had already gone past. That saw play break down. Tuvey did a great job in picking the ball up on the half volley. Robinson from the scrum win.
Got a feeling Jeff Tuvey disagreed with that ruling. He didn't think the pass went forward. And now, another scrum to pack down.
Well, mistakes are starting to come now. And the referee is he giving this feed to England, or what's the way he pointed?
It was an opportunity there for John Hopewate. There was definitely an advantage to be played.
Farrell away from the back of the scrum.
I noticed from that scrum that Steve Menzies playing in the centres at the moment, with Jason Smith, the replacement, playing in the forwards. So Menzies out in the centres instead of Mark Coyne, who's in the blood bin.
Dennis Betts. Ooh. Shoulder charge that just missed the mark. Now Big Harrison. Penalty goes against Australia.
The referee searching hard to find something wrong, some aggressive defence. Now he calls time off. The shoulder charges are okay, and Mark Carroll's good at them, but you've got to get the player and finish him off. Make sure he goes on the deck. It's the most important thing about defence, putting the player on the ground.
20 minutes gone, no score. The line. Harrison. 35 metres off the opposition line as Clark comes off the blind side and takes it more to the centre of the ground as Jackson flicks the pass up for Farrell. Farrell pulled down. They're only 15 metres out from the line. Coyne is back on. Powell, a short pass away for Andy Platt. Good tackle by the Australians, Menzies. Now Jackson.
Gillespie struggling out there in defence. That's the last tackle now. A look for Edwards, but there'll be a penalty to Australia.
Yeah, Lee Jackson's whooshked Wayne Bartram here, a backhander. Referee right on the spot. Seen it the right way. Bartram holding on, so the penalty could have gone either way, I suppose. But luckily for Australia, who were under some pressure there.
Well, it should have gone to England, shouldn't it?
Still, it was a stupid play by Lee Jackson in possession of the football, and giving away penalties is the first thing you cross out of your bag of equipment. Now Menzies been dangerous a couple of times in the opening 20 minutes of the match, and Dimmick now probes. One thing England are going to have to be mindful of, but Brad Fittler's the playmaker, but it's not hard for him to drop out of that and go wider and let Jim Dimmick take control for a few minutes. Gillespie, as predicted by Peter, has been replaced now, and Paul Harrigan has gone on. Fittler goes to the air off the left boot. Radlinski, running away from the opposition, did very well. He's back on them.
I really think there's an opportunity for the Australians to run the ball on the last tackle. If Fittler had a look to his left, about a 6-on-3 advantage they had. He decided to put the bomb up. The young fullback took it nicely. Robinson again proving elusive.
Robinson, he can hurt you and do it so simply. He overshadowed a fire last year. As Jackson plays it near enough to the halfway, Edwards kicks on that point. Hopewadi goes back to assist Brasher. Tim has had some favourable bounces. Powell goes across to try and cut down the Balmain star, and Brasher is out to the 30-metre line. Hopewadi takes one himself from dummy half. He's big enough.
Yeah, that's a great run there. The forwards for Australia taking a while to line up, although Harrigan now, the new man, puts his hand up. Important that the wingers and centres come in and take a bit of pressure off these big men. Good charge from Carroll.
Sideline report from Chris Bombolis.
Thanks, Ray. The call's gone out from the Australian team for the ice. A hamstring problem for David Gillespie. Mark Coyne back on the field. He's got a nasty cut on the forehead. He'll probably require stitches at the end of the match.
Played by Terry Hill. For Fittler to give a dummy half on to Tuvey. And on the last tackle, Tuvey waits this kick down into the in goal, but it'll run away across the Wembley turf, and the 20-metre tap will see us get going again in the hands of England. No score. As tight as they come this one.
A couple of the Australians forwards just starting to look a little tired out there now. We pointed out that some of the players in the team haven't played a lot of football. Even those who went through to the grand final now, they've had to work hard this first 25 minutes. No surprise to see the likes of Harrigan come into the match.
Played by Harrison, and they work the two forwards back to back. And Andy Platt it is who's put away. Message from the bench is Edwards kicks, regathers, loses, Brasher comes up with it for Australia. Message from the bench is that Chris Joynt will come on, and Carl Harrison will be replaced in a few minutes or a few seconds from now. A few metres off into England's territory now, and Bartram are on for pay, and then Fittler. And Menzies is outside him, got the pass inside for Menzies, then it came off the arm of Hill. It appeared to go backwards. Pay away now. Hill floats the pass. One-handed take by Dimmick. He kicks into the corner. The chase is not all that enthusiastic, and England come away. John Bentley.
Well, John Bentley, good run by him. He's run further there than he did in his 11 games at Balmain a couple of years ago. But Jim Dimmick tried the kick on the end of that movement. It worked when he was playing for the Bulldogs during the semis, not on that occasion.
The outside players really didn't have any idea that it was coming. Wishart was slow out of the blocks. And Platt now takes the ball forward. Good charge again.
26 minutes. Still we wait on a score. No extra time in the lead-up matches that will carry us to the finals. And Brasher has been kept fairly busy by the torment of Sean Edwards' kicking game. Robinson displaying strength in that tackle on Brasher. And then a good chase from Marker to wrap up Harrigan. And now Carroll joins in. And Andy Platt waits in the centre of the ruck to block that run down. From Bartram off now for Dean Pay. Away for Tuvey, trailing through, and then for Coyne. Coyne, Tuvey's on his inside. Bartram's with him. Now Tuvey, 18 metres away. Australia on the attack. As they come left, Fittler, Dimmick. They cut out Harrigan. They go across. Hapawade heads for the corner. Infield pass. Might have been touched by England. It was. Dimmick is tackled.
Oh, great defence.
And a knock-on the end of it.
Well, they've looked like scoring 3 or 4 occasions now, Australia. They just cannot get the ball over the line. Hopewadi looked a certainty there to go over in the corner. Threw the ball back inside. Wonderful offence. Radlinsky having a big game.
Jimmy Brasher still smarting a little bit from the tackle he got from Jason Robinson, and Robinson again involved in a try saver there. Tremendous work from the winger and the fullback to come back into the field of play and stop Dimmick from scoring and forcing the knock-on.
Chris Joint from the Newcastle Knights. He's into the game, and Carl Harrison takes time on the bench. As Australia come up with the scrum win. It's out for Terry Hill, and Coyne puts it down on the first tackle.
Oh, there's another opportunity gone bust there. The inside ball was on as Hill drifted across the field. The English defence went with it, and Coyne, if he steps back inside, he would have scored, but he couldn't control the football.
Yeah, I think Coyne was actually having a look back inside to see the gap that had opened. Took his eyes off the ball, and out it came. Just trying to work out how Australia got that feed down in this corner.
And me too, Peter.
Oh, hang on. Scrum penalty.
He's already spoken to Mark Carroll, as I said earlier. I don't know that it's on that matter, the way he is scrummaging, but if he's going to start giving scrum penalties, Mr. Cummings, we have got a problem. Bob Fulton perched in the official boxes on the far side of the ground. In fact, the side of the ground where play is at the moment. And Harrigan left the line. Tried to put Andy Platt away, not just in that tackle, but for the day, I think.
And that's a perfect illustration of what Paul Vaughton was talking about with the shoulder charge. You've got to make sure that you come up with the tackle. At times, the shoulder charge will give the ball carrier momentum. Find another 5 or 6 metres as Sean Edwards back across the ruck to Powell. Another change of direction there. Tack on halfway.
Edwards kicks, looking for Clark. The bounce. Oh, Clark got a hand to it. Crashes away with it now to the halfway for Hopewadi. Goes infield. Farrell picks him up. Now struck for and dived on in the play the ball. Penalty to Australia for mine. He's against the marker for handling the man playing the ball.
Yeah, you can't do what Sean Edwards did there, actually pulling Hopewadi towards him. But Tim Brash is having a great game. Whenever he's getting the football, he's covering up some dicey situations and making good ground back into opposition territory.
Australia trying to win their 5th consecutive World Cup. As Harrigan has put away 15 metres out from England's line. Dean Pay joins in, spins and looks for runners. Australia are exactly where they want to be. Centre of the ground. Tooby from the right works it back to the captain on the left. Fittler picks up Menzies, and it's easy. Menzies gets the try. 23rd try of the year. And the co-commentators are beside themselves because Mr. William Hill was betting 25-1 about him being the first try scorer.
Oh, what a great player, Steve Menzies, and a beautiful move put on. They hung off Fittler. Fittler went through and Menzies backing up. And that was a well-planned move here by Australia as a switch of play. The English defence, look at them hold off Fittler, and Menzies had come from the other side of the ruck. Oh, that's beautiful to watch.
It looked like it almost been telegraphed to play, but the sleight of hand from Brad Fittler was very important. Committed the English defence, straightened play back up, and Menzies, ran the angle coming from the other side to score under the posts. And at 25-1, he was over the odds.
He scored 9 tries in 11 appearances on tour last year, and 22 tries in the Winfield Cup of 1995. And he formed a beautiful combination with his captain, Brad Fittler. First points on the board then, coming at around about half an hour. Seeing the clock at Wembley is an impossibility. Rod Wishart from right in front enlarges the scoreboard. Australia leading England. First points on the board, 6-0. Welcome back. The Channel 9 exclusive coverage commercially around Australia and in other parts of the globe of the Centenary World Cup. Terry Hill, the try scorer Menzies. And something had to break, did it not? It was all so tense. First one, then the other would make a break or a half break. There's Dean Pay taking it ahead, and Jim Dimmick knowing that it's a good idea to stay in close proximity to his Canterbury teammate. Carroll gets himself into a gap. Tuvey uses Bartram. That might have been a Shepherd. Terry Hill goes back in field, 40 metres away now, 5 tackles gone.
And it's a tremendous set of 6 following points being scored. Always important to come up with a solid set. Jeff Tuvey's kick will be too long, but they're down this end of the field. That's where they want to play it.
Not only was the kick too long, again there doesn't seem to be communication between the kicker and the chasers.
I'll tell you what, not only has Steve Menzies scored the first try, but his tackling's been sensational. That's the 3rd time he's actually hit and driven and really hurt this English attacking side.
His possession percentage breakdown. They've had the better of it, England.
One area that the Australians need to be very careful is the little kick over the top from Edwards. He's found a bit of space as Darryl Powell throws the dummy, not taken by Carroll. It's very noticeable that Tim Brasher has played up very close to the front defensive line for the first 3 and 4 tackles. Of course, Jeff Tuvey and Brad Fittler tend to play in the line for much of the 6 tackles. Edwards now going high, straight to Brasher.
They're all onside. Brasher, he's lost it, gets it back in. This will give England a chance. 35 minutes gone, and a golden opportunity comes now for the home country.
And they do need this, England, because they are going nowhere with the football. Let me tell you, they're trying everything, but the Australian defence is so good, they've sort of got no ideas left. The kick has been their best option so far, as Peter just said, and now 15 metres out. Let's see what they can do.
Very wide blindside here.
They work to it as well. Big Farrell, he's over from the scrum. The loose forward goes over. Andy Farrell from Wigan scores and will attempt conversion of his own try.
And that's just what the doctor ordered for the home side. The mistake from Tim Brasher, the ball was swirling around. It was a good kick from Edwards. The chase was excellent. And from the scrum win, we saw both fullbacks come to the open side and then a planned move. Farrell showing great strength to actually carry Steve Menzies over the try line.
Good work by Farrell. Does he force the football? Yes, he does. Downward pressure. But, look, I've got to say this. You've always got to get your man round the legs. And if he's tackled round the legs, 8 metres out, I reckon he gets stopped before the line. But his momentum carried him over. They went high.
So Andy Farrell, the game's leading point scorer in England this season. He's taken on the kicking duties from Frano Botica. And, of course, taken the loose forward responsibilities from Phil Clark. And here's the young man. He's only 20. He's the young man that had to basically forfeit his opportunity here at Wembley last year in that memorable test that they won with 12 men. But to get a replacement halfback into the game, it was Andy Farrell who had to give up his spot on the football park. So, from that angle, it's a deserving try. Five times he's played for Great Britain. This is his first appearance for England. And he attempts conversion from a fairly acute angle unsuccessfully. So 6 points to 4. Tries coming very close together, and that, of course, wasn't a great surprise considering the tension that has been out there, or was out there, for the first half hour of the game.
And there you see the coaching staff of the English team. Phil Larder on the left, John Joyner, one of the greats from Castleford, there giving some advice. And obviously that four-pointer will lift this English side. Paul pointed out they were struggling a little bit to come up with something to defeat this Australian defence. The kick has been the weapon. It's got them back in touch.
I wonder, will it not also signal, Peter, a greater use of the kick? The kicking game, the bombs in particular, they haven't represented too much pressure on the fullbacks. That was the first one that really did. And Tim Brasher obligingly gave them what they were looking for.
I just noticed now that Tim Brasher, for the first 4 tackles of the set, you know, only 10 or 12 metres behind the Australian line, just dropping back now.
This is Darryl Powell. Half-time can only be about 60 seconds away. Edwards gets them back on course. Wishart watches it bounce and then tries to make the break in the centre of the park, but Betts was there together with Chris Joint. Now Paul Harrigan, 35 metres out from their own line, and there are metres presenting themselves now out of marker as the big men start to feel the pinch. Carroll. Match fitness very much on Mark's side, as it is with Dean Pay, for obvious reasons. The last, and Brad Fittler on the left of the park, drops it on the right foot, looking for a regather. It came off the feet of Robinson and then knocked on by Lee Jackson, which will give Australia, if there's time, 6 more tackles deep inside English territory.
It was a very good kick from Brad Fittler because it found space. A lot of bodies back there. Jason Robinson forced to toe the football back towards Lee Jackson, who couldn't come up. Fittler running one way, kicking back the other. And they win the scrum, go wide straight away to Mark Coyne.
The tragedy of the scrums is that this man, Stuart Cummings, has got no idea of 5 metres behind the last line of forwards. Wishart! Wishart! Through 2 tackles.
Numbers to the left.
Now, Tuvey. Harrigan decoys. Back inside, Menzies knocks on. Oh, the 2 faces of Lady Luck.
Oh, big run there by Wishart. Fantastic tackle by the fullback. Then they kept going the same way, and there was some room back on the inside.
7-5 the scrum count to Australia.
Again, the Australians need to watch the early kick. Brasher at 5'8", time running out in this first half. The fullback makes the tackle as he's done now. But he's got to drop back. Jeff Tuvey dropping into the second line.
Robinson. Held by Coyne after Dean Pay had made the original tackle. And now Newlum. The try, I think, in the test match at Ellen Road. And there's the hooter. So the end of the first half of the first game of the 1995 World Cup. 6 points to 4. Menzies for Australia. Farrell for England. A conversion for Wishart. And 6-4 the scoreline in favour of Australia after 40 gruelling minutes. We'll break and be back with the second half from Wembley in just a little while. Prior to play getting underway in the second half, Wide World of Sports has a series of limited edition grand final photographs now available for purchase. The photos were taken during the last 3 Australian Rugby League grand finals. They are superb wide-angled views of some of the memorable moments from the Broncos win in '93, called Back-to-Back Broncos, and 2 stills from the '94 decider, won by Canberra. Try Time features David Furner and Paul Osborne, and The Raid sees Noah Nandruku in full flight. If you'd like to buy any of these great photographs, This is the number to call, 008 029900. That's 008 029900. And next weekend, we'll be showing you a frozen moment from last month's dramatic win by the Sydney Bulldogs.
As is the case on the scoreboard, the statistics for the first half slightly favour the Australians, most notably the line breaks, the missed tackles and the handling errors. 5-1 the line breaks show that the Aussies have had plenty of opportunities. Way too many missed tackles from the home side, 22-10. And after what was a good start from both sides, 2 manly handling errors as well, 11 in total. 6 to England, 5 to Australians. And that's an area both coaches, I'm sure, address at half-time.
Now second half about to get underway. England trailing 6-4. They led 6-0 in the World Cup in 1992. It's their job this year to come from behind. No changes either side. And Harrigan has put away 25 metres out from his own line. Carroll cut down by Clark. Good tackle. That was Terry Hill, and now Harrigan for the second time on this opening set of 6. Now the last. Fittler's calling it. The markers have gone out after Fittler. He's around them, a kick and a regather, but he couldn't quite pull it off. And Jackson is with it for England.
Well, that was an occasion where Wayne Bartram shouldn't have thrown the football. Turned and kicked the other side himself. Too much pressure on Fittler.
Now Clark again. Hammered on the halfway line. Dimmick underneath Menzies. Jackson away from dummy half. Turns it in. Clark is with it. Misunderstanding for England. Radlinski now. And the young fullback is put down by Fittler. Robinson. He's threatened every time. Edwards on. Newlove with it. Newlove turns it on. Bentley. Bentley away from Bartram, away from Dimmick. And held in the centre of the ground. 35 out from the Australian line. 5 tackles. What will Edwards do? The last bomb brought them a rich reward. They go up. There's no communication. England are on their way for the line. That is Mather. Did he pass from the ground? They are over the line. And he is ruled held up. It doesn't come any closer than that.
Oh, unbelievable stuff here. The Australians flying high. Timmy Brasher came flying in and actually put off some of the other catches. The ball came up to Barry John Mather, who set sail for the line, flicked one out close to the line. Jason Robinson, tackled by Paul Harrigan. I don't know, I thought the ball was put to the ground.
Well, there's a question there, Peter, of how long can you be there and how long are you allowed to be there before forcing the football. And this is Mather. I thought he may have passed off the ground, to tell you the truth. They're in the centre of the ground and they're really on the attack. Edwards and Powell. Powell is 8 metres away from the line. Jackson uses Dennis Betts. Betts is put away, 7 metres out. England trailing by 2. Great opportunity. Clark. Great tackle there by Jim Dimmick with Jeff Tuvey. Now they need to go wide quickly. Powell along the line. Newlove couldn't get the pass out. Mark Coyne's tackle was a beauty. Now Joint. Oh, Brasher's made the mistake. I think he's going to give the try. Yes, he gives the try to Chris Joint.
And controversy here, the Australians surrounding this in-goal touch judge, and they're giving him some. Let me tell you, they go to the lead 8-6. Australians claiming Chris Joint didn't ground the football, that he knocked it on. Little kick here by Chris Joint. Brasher fumbles. Now who grounds it? The in-goal judge was in a good spot. This one will tell the story.
Yeah, good work here from Joint, the big man putting it through, straight through the grasp of Tim Brasher.
Hundreds.
No way.
Hundreds.
Absolutely no way is there any downward pressure. But the try has been given. And you're not going to alter the scoreboard. 8 points to 6 in favour of England.
And the kicking game giving the Australians all sorts of problems. Really feel as though in those situations, with the bombs going up, Tim Brasher has to stand back and allow the other catchers a shot at it and wait to see what happens. They've started this second half on fire, England. 8-6, an opportunity for Farrell to extend that lead to a try. 4 points. Not a difficult kick. He struck his first one fairly well in the first half, kept it low, just wide of the post.
So Andy Farrell converts. The controversial try of Chris Joint has been converted. A sombre Bob Fulton now. England in front.
Hello.
And they've done well to keep England out up until this stage. The tackle especially from Paul Harrigan to save the try. And Jason Robinson was very good. Powell takes the kick off. Phil Clark now, extra spring in the step of the English players. They can sniff a victory. And now a very important part of the match. The next 10 or 15 minutes could tell.
Robinson put away by Tuvey. 25 metres away now from their own line with Bentley. 2 tries then, 1 to Joint, 1 to Farrell. And for Australia, a try for Menzies. 10 points to 6. Familiar scoreline, isn't it? The same scoreline that ended the 1992 World Cup. Brasher. He's had a very busy day back there, Tim. And 3 of the Englishmen are down there. A long ball as they go to the left of the ground. And Terry Hill, Russell, is able to get away from 1 and 2 and takes it beyond the 20-metre line.
Well, that's a great run there by Terry Hill. Just determination got him 20 metres and might set this Australian side alight.
Well, he's just about been the Australians' best, Terry Hill. Brash had been outstanding. A couple of mistakes has cost his team. Almost seems unfair that he's come up with the mistakes that have led to tries. But Hill in the centres has been dynamic. Pay in the middle of the ruck has also been very good. He offloads to Menzies.
Menzies then, almost to the halfway line. The last tackle is with us is Fittler now. Goes off the right boot, looking for that sideline. On the far side of Wembley, it goes in touch in goal. So a 20-metre tap will restart for England.
Paul Newlove taken into run from dummy half. 2 tackles now from the restart as Dennis Betts takes the ball forward, met by Harrigan.
Jackson. Hammering tackle there from Dean Pay. Long ball for Edwards. They put pressure on him. He came back. And Andy Platt, not expecting it. 12 metres on his own side of halfway on tackle 5. And now Edwards goes over to the alternate kicker. And Farrell lands it down favourably for Tim Brasher. Wishart is back with him. But the chase of the Englishman is very keen. Brasher trying to make a break from inside his own 20-metre line.
Well, the defence of the Englishman is very good to begin this second half. I believe they need a Bobby Goulding out there as Australia keep the ball alive through Bartram and Dimmick.
Dimmick, a struggling run, a good run, ending 9 metres from the halfway line as Tuvey selects Carroll to promote it now. Bartram a dummy half and Fittler with the ball. Across for Menzies. They had the numbers there, but Menzies is put away by the tackle of Joint. And now Fittler again. Brasher is with him. Fittler looking for support. Finds Dimmick, who finds Tuvey, who floats it out. Coyne is with it. Coyne gets away from Edwards, taken by Newlove. 20 metres out. Wishart's pass on 5. And a kick from Fittler. Here's pressure for England. The bounce comes down for Coyne. Coyne scores. Mark Coyne puts it down. Where was he in relation to the kicker? I'm not sure, but the try has been given.
Oh, they're back. The Winfield Kangaroos go back to the lead. Or is it 10-all now? With a kick to come. And the kick has proved so decisive in this game. 3 tries now.
Well, interesting to see not only where the chaser is, but also what happens here. Radlinski flies high. Menzies is definitely taken out. Well, no problems with the fullback. He just misjudged it. And it looked as though all chasers were onside. And the kick was perfect, just in the field of play. Menzies interfered with.
He just had no idea, did he? The kid at the back.
Yeah, well, I should point out that we are taking pictures via the BBC. And I've got to say, and it's not meant to be an open criticism of them, none of the pictures have told me anything in relation to the chasers, in relation to the kicker. The fact is, though, a try has been given, and like the try scored by England, if there's a touch of controversy about it, then that is even Stevens. So we're back at 10 points all now as Wishart prepares conversion. 19 out. The crowd willing him to fail. 12 in from touch. He's missed it. It's 10 points all at Wembley now. So welcome back to Wembley. Home of some of the great moments in football. And that restart will see a line dropout for Australia.
That wasn't one of the great moments.
That's a bad blue there by Jimmy Dimmick. Like he could have simply caught this ball.
It's almost like an own goal.
Straight through to the keeper.
Yeah. So a very bleak restart for Australia. This is going to give the ball back to England.
There's Jason Smith on the field. Mark Carroll replaced. Fittler restarting from under his own post. Gets away a pretty good line dropout. Betts takes it on the full and then winds up. Tackle 30 out.
So the first tackle completed. And now Bentley comes in for the second. Jason Smith on in 16 for Mark Carroll. Jackson. Clark. Now they put a set play together. Farrell was the key. Brasher watches it to the last moment. Oh, how cool was Tim Brasher?
Well, that's one word for it, but he did leave it to the nth degree as Bobby Goulding. Looks like he might be coming into the game. Farrell coming back, putting a little kick through. And what the early kicks in the first half has done is forced Tim Brasher to play up closer than he would like. Every time the kick goes through, he's under pressure because now he's got to turn around and chase.
I'm just wondering who Goulding will come on for. If it was me, I'd take Sean Edwards off. He's done nothing in this game. Absolutely refuses to run with the football. Hasn't been tackled.
Well, I don't think they'll take the captain off, although I agree. I think Powell will probably be the man. Edwards out to 5'8", Goulding to half. There's Edwards' first receiver. Powell inside.
New Love. Every time he handles, he looks half a chance. Edwards, long ball out for Mather. Mather tries to beat them himself.
Oh, tackle Fittler.
Robinson now from dummy half. Little kick came off the Australians. Doesn't restart the tackle count. He didn't play at the ball. Powell flicks it out the back. England on their last tackle. Edwards, a drop goal attempt by Farrell, and he's ruled wide of the uprights.
Well, fast and furious. Referee not giving England 6 again. Wasn't played at by the Australians. Edwards looked as though he was going to take the shot. And then Farrell put it to the side of the posts. Jason Smith now, the new man on, looking to lift his side.
10 points all as Bartram runs for one of the few occasions in the match to the halfway line, and Harrigan is there now.
He's been great, Paul Harrigan, since coming on. Really has made a lot of metres, quick play the balls, come up with some timely tackles, cut out pass to Fittler to Hill is not a good one, picked up by Farrell.
So England turn around from defence into attack now. Across the ground, Clark linking up with Newlove. Newlove on Coyne, and Coyne makes the tackle.
He's handling well too. He's a very strong runner, is Newlove, and Coyne's handling very well. As Bentley goes gently across the field.
Edwards is with it. Now Mather. 35 out from the Australian line.
Oh, that'll do, mate.
Edwards. Farrell. Dummies and then tries to cut through. Fittler is doing a lot of valuable work in defence out there when some tackles have had to be made. I'm talking about the big tackles. Fittler has presented himself. Jackson uses Edwards. Edwards kicks back in field and across. Brasher couldn't get to it. Radlinski away for Betts. Betts then into the arms of Chris Joint. And that is the turnover.
Well, the kick again proving dangerous for Australia, but the players had to be offside when Shaun Edwards kicked the ball. Those two English players were in front of Shaun Edwards when he kicked it. Had to be a penalty to Australia.
Well, there's a penalty to Australia now as Coyne is forced down by Joint. The marker interfering with the man playing the ball. It'll relieve the situation from deep inside their own half.
You can understand why Andy Farrell has been England's young player of the season for the last 2 years. A very good game out there, both attack and defence. Scored a try. One thing about this game is the referee, who's had a pretty tough job out there, has played a very, very ordinary 10 metres.
Jason Smith. 10 points all then. Second half starting to wear away, and Fittler goes into the centre, looking for Menzies. Edwards gives it on for Farrell. And they're about 7 metres from the halfway line. Robinson now. And as this game draws on, Jason Robinson has to be watched even more keenly than before. They shovel it out, and Newlove it is, again on Coyne. And Tooby comes across to lend Coyne the assistance he needed. Bentley out in front of Clark. Clark looking to give it on for Jackson. Edwards now wants a run around from Betts. Betts was the decoy, and Edwards is driven into the ground by Menzies. Jackson. Farrell. Rubber kick. Brings Brasher forward. Mather is there with Robinson, and the Australian fullback plays it just outside the 20-metre line. It's got an incredible frequency, this score line in World Cup football. 72 and 75. The final score was 10 points all. John Hopewate out on that left wing. Jason Smith with that right knee heavily taped. He had a less than happy ending fitness-wise to the season. And now Dean Pay struggles and looks for support. The last for Tuvey. On to his captain. Fittler turns it inside. Brasher's there. He kicks. Menzies is onside. He chases. The ball comes down for Brasher. It's play on. Hopewate. He takes the tackle. And England's defence good.
Very good defence there, but once that ball came down, you would have thought, how would Australia not score? But desperation defence held them out. And now a penalty goes to the Englanders.
There's been some pressure moments.
Would they be English?
Something like that.
As Andy Platt hits it out to the 20-metre line. Accepted Harrigan and Fittler. Farrell has been as good a forward as England have provided today. Jackson, Clark, and then Powell. Jackson now elects to run from dummy half, something we haven't seen much of from Lee Jackson. He made it a pastime on the Kangaroo Tour. Andy Platt, the last. The kick for Farrell, able to run for an age before he kicks it. Brasher takes a look over the shoulder, realises he's got plenty of time. Something that he hasn't had a lot of in this match today.
And even though the kick was too long, it was very good awareness from Andy Farrell, seeing that he could eat up 10 metres by just taking the ball slowly forward. No pressure coming through from the Australians on the kicker.
You might be wondering how Winfield have got involved with the Australian Kangaroos. That, of course, would come under the heading of exemption under the Tobacco Prohibition Act, being an international event. I know it sounds crazy, but there it is. Bartram. And now for Dean Fay. Taken by Betts. He's really taken on a lot of responsibility. A problem for Bartram. I'm talking of Dean Fay. He really has taken the brunt of the English defence on many occasions. Playing in the second row and playing tirelessly. Fittler's kick fielded on the feet by Redlinski.
Again, that was another occasion where maybe they could have run the football, as Menzies comes up with a good tackle on the young fullback. Dimmick was outside Fittler, a couple of players. Jerry Hill on the winger. Fittler realising just what a crucial stage this game is at, and really field position is the most important thing. If you want to make a mistake, or going to make a mistake, you want your opponents running 90 metres, not 9.
Jackson almost through. Now Bentley, he picks up Clark. Clark in the centre. Bartram makes a great tackle. Now the last tackle. Edwards puts in a sizable kick that really I can't see the purpose of. It gave the chasers no chance in the world. And it went over the dead ball line on the bounce. Bobby Goulding getting ready. Harrigan realises the importance of ball control at 10 points all in your own territory. Hopewate. 30-metre line underneath him. Now Dimmick, and he combines with Dean Fay. Gets a pass on for Terry Hill. Hill goes in and away and is held on the 40-metre line. Now the Australians getting a roll on as Harrigan thunders up to the halfway. Bartram, Tuvey, Dimmick, Menzies, and the pass was forward. It's play on. And England playing it through New Love. Tackle count really should start on this tackle. Referee doesn't give any indication that he had nullified the count. So that is the third tackle, I'm told. This is Joint. 43 metres away from the Australian line. 10 points all. Powell. Short ball for Betts. Powell got back there in the nick of time. It was as if he'd forgotten the script. Fifth tackle. Edwards. I disagree with that, by the way.
Sean Edwards' last couple of kicks have been terrible. Really, the game at the moment being played between the 20-metre marks. Both sides finding it increasingly difficult to get into the opponent's 20-metre area. The first team to do that might just get away with this game. They can't cross the line. The field goal now, as time winds down, becoming more important and more desirable.
Jeff Tuvey scampers out from dummy half, takes Australia just into England's territory. Fittler's pass will go over the sideline. Terry Hill and John Hopewadi both overrunning it.
He's had a great game, Brad Fittler, today. Maybe as the pressure mounts at 10-all, he's trying too hard. Went straight past Terry Hill, that one.
Substitution for England reporting number
Plenty of tired Aussies out there, let me tell you. They're starting to struggle, looking around to see who wants to take the ball up, and there's no one there on a couple of occasions.
Andy Platter's left the field for England. Simon Horton in jersey 17 comes into the team.
Robinson away from that right wing, and now Jackson goes across for Farrell to give on, and Powell finds Rablinski, and now Mather. Now Jackson one more time. This is Horton, thought of as the form forward in England at the moment. Jackson, now they're getting it into the area.
Edwards is calling his team to go to the centre of the field here. Powell is doing that, goes to Edwards now. They've gone wide.
Clark across, Rablinski, Robinson comes back in field, beats one, beats two, down and up again, put down 12 metres out from the line on 5. Farrell is wide, Edwards runs it to the line, puts a kick in for New Love, and Wishart gets it back into the field of play. Tooby now.
They really need a big effort now, Australia. They know that to win this match, individually, they've all got to lift. Just got to try and find something. A few players, hands on hips.
They've reached the 30-metre line. 5 tackles gone. The clearing kick from Brad Fittler. Towering kick, bouncing to the left. It crosses the line, 10 points all at Wembley in the World Cup. In favour of Australia now.
It was a very big play there from Brad Fittler. They really needed a kick to find a lot of territory and also to find touch, just to give the side a breather. I think it's important now for the Australians that their strike players get involved.
8-7 the scrums in favour of England, a statistic that bears little relevance these days. Now, Australia works for a mistake. They have had very little territory, 10 points all.
When I'm talking about strike players, Ray, I mean the likes of Hopewate, Wishart, Terry Hill. They've got to come and take a little bit of pressure off and try and take on some of these big English forwards that might be starting to tire.
Betts now in the centre of the park. Jackson on, Edwards calls him round, Joint gets it about 5 metres into Australia's half of play. They go to the blind side for Jackson to kick, looking to put pressure on Hopewate. The youngster is for, oh, he's lost it! A chance for England, Robinson! Robinson! He scores! 14 points to 10! England in front!
And a simple mistake sees Jason Robinson come up with what could be the match winner. A 4-point lead, and John Hopewate unfortunately coming up with the mistake. Some strong defence after he fielded the kick, turned. Lee Jackson, who put the kick through, there with a support in New Love, and Jason Robinson flies over in the corner.
Yes, well, England might have wrapped it up here. There's still 10 or 11 minutes to go. Barry John Mather coming down. They hit him hard, Hopper. And the ball just went out to go. And Timmy Brasher was 100s to get Jason Robinson over in the corner.
Yes, I thought it was New Love, but it was Barry John Mather who came up with the important hit on the left-hand side of Hopewate. Robinson always looking to get involved in the game, and that's one of the attractions in his football. But even though he's a winger, he loves getting involved. Often gets into dummy half. This time it was a pretty simple job for him to pick it up and score. 1 from 2 from Farrell. Very difficult kick, but for a left footer, it's on his better side.
Great view, looking down from the cherry picker on one of the world's great stadiums as Farrell, way out there, the line is good, the length is good, and the scoreboard rolls over. England 16-10. So 10 minutes on the clock.
Which is ample time, of course. No need to panic in this situation. That was the mistake that both sides have been looking for, to come up with possession in their opponent's danger area. Now the one thing that the Aussies need to watch is if England get to the other end, they can't allow a simple field goal.
There's been an Australian player gone down here. It might be Paul Harrigan. Some strong defence. The problem for Australia is that no doubt the England side will lift now.
So this home crowd getting the feeling that this first World Cup clash, many expect it'll be the first of two, is going their way.
That was a collision there that saw Paul Harrigan, or still sees him down injured. Head clash there with Brad Fittler. Matthew Johns has come into the game now in jersey 15, will be in the hooker's role, replacing Wayne Bartram. It looks as though Mark Carroll back into the fray for Paul Harrigan.
John's on in 15, and a penalty goes to England.
Referee calling out Terry Hill here. He's seen something happen in the tackle. Nothing in that.
As we say, the problem for the Australians now is with this next set of 6, Barrel should find touch around the halfway area. You would think that they would probably get close enough to at least have a long-range shot for the 1 point.
That incident involving Terry Hill looking a lot worse than the impact. That is Fortin. Now Betts taken out by Carroll. Powell. 7 minutes out, 35 metres out. Can they enlarge the scoreboard? 16-10. Edwards. Newlove, I think, is in front of the kicker. Brasher is with it. Should have been a penalty. 8 metres out from their own line. Coyne it is that's brought down. Now Wishart. I think Rod Wishart is 100% actually. He seems to be favouring one of the legs. That is play. Now Johns. Carroll. Tuvey. Fittler. Holds it back for an intercept. Newlove. Newlove. He'll score. Newlove scores in the corner.
Just going for too much, the Australians. A little short ball onto the hip. And then the pass thrown after that. Keeping the ball alive on the last tackle. Saw Newlove take the intercept. Too much pace for Jason Smith coming across. And that wraps up the opening game in this year's World Cup. And a real confidence booster for the home side. 2010, the kick to come. And Jim Dimmick threw the basketball pass back towards Timmy Brasher. and New Love there to swoop and then get the big fend.
Desperation stuff by the Aussies, wasn't it? They had to score a try, and Jason Smith, a valiant effort by him to chase New Love, got to him but couldn't bring him down. And the face of Paul Newlove tells it all.
So 20 points to 10, 5 minutes to go. And another angle.
Really is starting to fulfil the promise that Paul Newlove has shown for a long time. Really now a good player on the international stage. There again is Phil Larder, John Joyner standing. They know they've got it wrapped up. The smile there from Phil Larder. I think I'm right in saying this is his first international or in charge of England for the first time. Currently the Keithley coach has been around the coaching ranks in some capacity for quite a while, helping out, but has now taken over the reins, and one of the most astute people that England have had in this position for quite a while.
Now, young Andy Farrell. 5 metres in from touch, he struck it well, but it's just wide. So 20 points to 10. Only a few minutes remaining. Rod Wishart carries the ball back to halfway as we go into the point in play that saw Newlove snatch the ball from Tim Brasher and head for the line.
I think the one thing Australia haven't had today, which they normally do have, they had in the Trans-Tasman series against New Zealand, is ball control. They really turned over possession far too many times in their second half.
I actually can't remember the Australians getting into the opponent's 20-metre area maybe more than once in this second 40 minutes.
Now we have a touch judge coming on. This could well be the tackle on Carl Harrison. One of the Australian tacklers kept pushing Harrison down into the ground.
Dean Pay's the man being called out.
This touch judge would have had a rear-end view of it. That's Johns on top of Harrison, and there's Dean Pay. It's hardly what you would think a touch judge would get involved in from the blind side of play, but he did. He chose to get into the action as Joint is put down 42 metres out from the Australian line. Bentley. Now Edwards. Cross from Farrell to Mather. Strong tackle puts the centre down. Horton. Just a couple of touches in the game since he came on, but it's obvious that he's got a touch of class. This kick, putting a little bit of pressure on Mark Coyne.
Well, they've made a few mistakes today, Australia, but I've got no doubt these two teams will meet in the final here in a few weeks' time. Australia will beat England. They'll be all the better for the run. They can go off on Tuesday night. They'll have a big win against South Africa, and again the following Saturday against Fiji. And once they get some teamwork going, England won't get near them.
The blood bin there for Matthew Johns.
Let's go down to the sideline to Chris Bombolas.
Ray, the news is not good on the Chief. A suspected depressed fracture of the cheekbone. They'll have a closer look at that tonight. And Australia heading, of course, for its third loss in 4 appearances at Wembley. So it has been a hoodoo ground. Matthew Johns, as we speak, coming off. He's coming to the blood bin. He's got a nasty gash to the forehead.
2 minutes left on the clock as Fittler attacks the line. Another intercept for England. It's with big Carl Harrison. Jackson run around on Edwards and then picked off by Carroll. And they're 22 metres out now from the Australian line.
And that's a real shame for Paul Harrigan. I think on today's performance he'd have really pushed for a starting position. for the next important game, which will be the semi-final, you would believe. Carl Harrison spinning out of the tackle from Mark Carroll. Only seconds to go now.
Edwards, across with two decoys angling back. Oh! He's ruled around the chest. I thought it might have been a high tackle by John Hopewade. Edwards goes for the drop goal, and it's wide. So 20 points to 10 remains the scoreline. Of course, if Paul Harrigan, as suspected, has that depressed fracture of the cheekbone, and David Gillespie has a hamstring problem, it certainly puts a strain on the team as far as front rowers are concerned.
Well, all of a sudden you're seeing Dean Pay maybe considered in that position. He's played there before, of course, as Terry Hill.
Great made by Terry Hill. He's got support. He's got Hopewade on his outside and put away on the 20-metre line by Radlinski. Hopewade, Hill goes back, and they've got the numbers on the right. Dimmock gets the pass away. Menzies, he'll get his second. Menzies, on full time, gets his second try.
And that's the stuff this side is capable of. If they can control the football, if they can hang on to it, play out their sets of 6, they can score tries at that all day long. Terry Hill's had a great game for Australia. He's one player, didn't let them down. He made that long run which set it up. And in the end of it, Menzies, an easy try for him.
And the important thing from Terry Hill was the fact that he didn't panic at the end of it. He didn't throw the pass that didn't need to be let go. And the next ruck was the important one. A little bit of luck there. The ball knocked back from Jason Smith into the path of Steve Menzies. But too often today the Australians have been guilty of looking for the big play and not being patient.
Wishart will convert the try scored by Menzies, as he did earlier with Menzies' first try, the first try of the match, and 20 points to 16. We must be almost into the time on the extra time period. This is how the try came. It was made possible by a long run by Terry Hill. Some good fortune there as it came from Jason Smith's hand back and for Menzies to score. 20 points to 16 then, as we go into the final chapter, the opening game of the Centenary World Cup. Carroll comes thundering back and runs into the shoulder of Darryl Powell. The siren sounds, and England can rejoice.
England are the winners.
Again.
The top 2 seeds, the World Cup favourites.
Again, Australia beaten at Wembley, 20 points to 16. But as many people would feel, and I'm sure Paul Vaught has already said this, there'll be a second occasion, and it'll probably be in the final here in 3 weeks' time. 20 points to 16, some outstanding efforts. And Peter and Paul will summarise and give you the man of the match details on the other side of this break. We're going to it now. Don't leave us. We're back.
Defeating the Australians 20 points to 16 in the opening game of the tournament. Again, Wembley not proving to be a happy hunting ground for the Aussies, and the scorecard looked this way. Farrell got a try, so too Joint, Newlove and Robinson. Farrell kicked 2 from 4, while for the Australians, Steve Menzies got 2 tries, Mark Coyne the other, and Rod Wishart kicked 2 from 3. Despite being a losing performance for the Australians, an award still given, and the man who has picked that one up is now with Chris Bombolas.
Thanks, Sterlo. Our Winfield kangaroo of the match is Dean Pay. Dean, obviously disappointment, but $1,000 to help ease the pain.
Yeah, thanks very much. It was just one of those games, I suppose. Just turned a bit of ball over and they capitalised.
The difference between the two sides on the day?
I think they just control the ball a bit better than us.
Wembley hasn't been a happy hunting ground, has it really, for Australia over the last few years?
No, it hasn't, but, you know, we've got 2 or 3 games to go to get to the final now, and we'll be concentrating on them, and we'll see how we go next time.
Some injuries to the men up front. The prospect, perhaps, of you maybe moving up to the front row, that wouldn't bother you?
I hope not.
Not a favourite position of yours?
No.
Now, what about regrouping? You've got a couple of days to get things organised again?
Yeah, we've got a couple of days, and you know, we'll go and have a bit of a drink tonight and think about things, and you know, we'll just go from there.
All right, congratulations, Dean Pay, and good luck in for the rest of the tournament.
Thanks very much, Channel 9 and Whitfield.
Another robust performance from Dean Pay in the second row. Got that award just in front of the likes of Terry Hill, Steve Menzies, Brad Fittler and Timmy Brasher also played quite well. But Paul Vaughton, I guess in most people's minds, a shock result. Did you see any excuses?
I think if we're looking, Pete, you could find a couple. For instance, the no try by Chris Joint. I mean, the in-goal judge right in lines had a barrier there. You look at the referee's 10 metres, which at times was around 5 or 6, didn't help Australia. I don't think Bob Fulton will do that. I think he'll just look at on face value that they turned over too much possession. Their ball control was very, very ordinary, and they've got a lot of work to do in the next week and a half before the semi-finals to correct that.
Well, we'll see if that is the case for the Australian coach Bob Fulton. He too is now with Chris Bombolas.
Well, with me now is Australian coach Bob Fulton. Bob, no need to express the disappointment?
Oh no, Bob, I'm fairly disappointing, but I mean the fact is that we just turned over too much possession, and you know, some of the times we did turn it over resulted in tries. So you know, you can't play at this level and you know, can make those types of mistakes and you know, hope to get out of it. And you know, I suppose when you look at our tries, they're pretty well put together, and you know, they didn't drop a ball in the second half, which you know, speaks volumes for their ability to be able to control it. But they didn't put us under a heck of a lot of pressure. I mean, you know, their kicking game was first class, and their defence was okay. But you know, I thought our defence was fine too. But you know, on the day, I mean, it just came down, and you know, we're beaten 20 points to 16, and 4 of their tries came from our mistakes, basically.
It resembles a bit of a battlefield in here. The Chiefs struggling, Cement struggling. We've got Rod Wishart's got the ice on. What's the early assessment on the injuries?
Well, Cement's got a bit of a hamstring problem, which sounds a bit silly for a front row, but that's what he has got, and we'll have to assess that in the next couple of days, but the others will be okay.
All right, good luck in the coming weeks, and good luck, perhaps we'll see you in the final.
Yeah, we'll be right.
Coach Bob Fulton realising that one loss is not the end of the world, but all of a sudden the other games in their pool do take on extra importance. Well, in today's opening, you saw a sequence from a new video that traces the first 100 years of rugby league called Going for the Line, and it's now available in Australia through Rugby League Video for $25 plus $5 postage, and the number to call is 1800 074 155. That number again is 1800 074 155. And of course that takes us through to the next match that the Australians will play. That's up against South Africa. You will see that at 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday night. And as I say, the Australians expected to win that one, but losing today's game, all of a sudden they need to be fairly impressive in the next couple of matches. And Fatty, the prospect now, of course, is that a confrontation with New Zealand is very much on the cards, and something that I think Bob Fulton wouldn't have wanted, especially on top of the injuries picked up out of this game.
Well, that looms, of course. So you got the injury to Paul Harrigan. I'm just wondering if Australia will call for a replacement from home for that. They do play South Africa, then Fiji. They'll win those, but so will England. So England will finish first in their pool, and of course Australia probably will play New Zealand in a semi-final. I think that'll be good for them, Peter.
Well, it's been a disappointing start for Australia in the Centenary World Cup. A great start for the home team. England winning this match 20 points to 16. And until we see you on Wednesday night for the second game on tour for the Australians, on behalf of the entire Wide World of Sports Rugby League crew from the Wembley Stadium, it's bye for now.
This has been